In its March issue, motorsports magazine Business F1 published a 19-page article on the Horner saga. The magazine named his accuser. It also said, "The woman want to fight for her rights and reputation in a civil court in England." Fast forward to today, the woman hasn't yet dragged Horner to court. She wants to exhaust her other options first. Red Bull had dismissed the woman's case after an external investigation. It subsequently suspended her while labeling her accusations as dishonest. But not everyone was convinced that Red Bull did a thorough investigation. Toto Wolff, who could benefit from the crumbling of Red Bull, questioned the transparency of the investigation. "We live in a very transparent world. If you don't say something, it only becomes more interesting." A friend of the accuser also spoke to the Daily Mail. He felt Red Bull had abandoned her, and also called for transparency. They suspended her even though she followed due process. That is why she is now demanding transparency regarding all decisions and the internal investigation. It is this quest for transparency that has led us to where we are today. Horner has been dragged to the FIA's Ethics Committee, and the odds are beginning to stack up against him. Hit the subscribe button to support the channel. Welcome to Front Lockout. A Dutch paper summarized the Horner saga perfectly in the diagram on your screen. We want to draw your attention to this green line. It shows the friendly relationship between Horner and Red Bull's majority owner in Thailand. That relationship is the only reason why Horner still has a job right now. The Austrian end of the business wants him out. As the saga wore on, it is now emerging that the Thai owners are growing tired of backing Horner. It was reported that there are increased calls from influential women's rights activists in the U.S. against Horner. The U.S., being a huge market for Red Bull, is of particular dilemma for them. More so, with the increasing possibility of the woman going public, the Thais fear this would be too bad for business. Unfortunately, Horner's woes are compounding. The rock band, U2, is planning to release a hit song regarding the Horner saga. Turns out the woman's brother is the son-in-law of U2's guitarist, The Edge. The title of the song is "Don't Be Horny, Be a Christian." But there could be some hope for Horner. The picture on your screen was taken after the Bahrain qualifying. Although both men were closing their mouths, according to an observer standing close by, Ben Sulayem told Verstappen, "You must publicly back Christian." Even though Max clearly haven't given Horner a full backing, his conversation with the FIA president showed that dragging Horner to the FIA is potentially a waste of time. In a normal workplace, a flirting issue of this sort would usually be a warning from the person in question. If this is escalated, there will be warnings from your manager and HR. But since the world has gone woke, merely complimenting a colleague could get you sacked. In a normal world, a flirting issue like this rarely leads to termination. It is a two-way street. The employee can also sue for wrongful termination. While the woman in question has every right to feel safe at work, it still needs to be done within reason. Horner was flirting with her, and that is a fact. From the leaks, however, there isn't a part where she had told him to stop, but he refused. If Horner were to be a mid-level software engineer, for example, and he is sacked based on flirting, there are several thousand remote roles he can immediately start applying to. However, there are only 10 team principal jobs in the world. If Horner is sacked because of this, no other team would give him a chance. That would be the end of him. Red Bull needs to be careful of unlawful termination. If they decide to end his career over such a case, he would clean the organization of hundreds of millions. I don't see why he wouldn't claim over $1 billion in damages. That is the threat the Horner's lawyers must be reminding Red Bull. The board now has to consider if those text messages are worth several $1 million in lawyer fees. And in a case where Red Bull could lose, they must decide if it's worth paying potentially $1 billion for. We would like to hear your thoughts in the comments. This is Front Lockout, signing off.